हेलो फ्रेंड्स, गुड इवनिंग, वेलकम, सुस्वागतम। स्वागत है आपका आज के इस एक्सपर्ट टॉक लाइव सेशन में। Today is our 68th episode of this expert talk show, and today we will have our expert as Aayush Bhatnagar, who will be speaking on uh, what is the future of internal auditing for technical professionals. So, internal auditing career क्या है, क्या future है, who can be into this industry, and डोमेस्टिक एज वेल एज इंटरनेशनल इसकी क्या अपॉर्चुनिटीज है, इसके बारे में हम डिटेल में डिस्कशन करेंगे. सो लेट अस वेलकम आवर एक्सपर्ट ऑफ द डे.
Thank you, Mr. Vipul. Thank you for having
Yeah,
me here,
thank you,
and good
thank you
evening
for
to
joining
all.
in.
Thank you, thank you. It's a pleasure
And
here.
it's our pleasure to have you, and thank you for accepting our invitation. And I'm
You're
sure
most welcome.
काफ़ी कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग चीज़ें समझने को जानने को मिलेगी कि जनरली ऐसा एक परसेप्शन है कि सीए या बीकॉम एमकॉम फाइनेंस कैंडिडेट्स जनरली ऑडिटिंग में होते हैं, इंटरनल
जी,
ऑडिटिंग में जनरली होते हैं, बट बीइंग अ person from altogether different industry, how you ventured into it and how you have succeeded in it, and that you are working overseas on a over in overseas assignment, so that will be a
yeah,
great journey. So audience, do share this session, do share with your network, friends and family, and do comment on this, do participate with your live questions if you have any. एंड ये 68th एपिसोड है, उसके पहले के भी जो एपिसोड हुए आप उसको भी यूट्यूब में हमारे चैनल विपुल द वंडरफुल पे जाके देख सकते हैं, एंड definitely you can have advantage of it. So let me welcome Ayush once again and give a brief
okay.
intro about Ayush. So Ayush Bhatnagar is a petroleum engineer with a postgraduate diploma in business management, and he has been into risk advisory for last 7 years and currently working in Abu Dhabi. Before that, he has worked in oil and gas companies in the technical domain. So that's amazing, Ayush, that being from altogether different industry, petroleum, oil and gas industry mein the aap, and now you are into internal auditing. So we would love to know more about you. So please tell us about yourself and your life journey, why you have ventured into this internal auditing industry, and please give a brief, more detailed intro about you.
Sure, sure. First of all, good evening, everyone, and thank you, Mr. Vipul, for having me here. First of all, as the name suggests, is expert talk. So I would say that as for me, it's still a long way to go, and so I will still not consider myself as an expert. But yes, I'll share my experience and my learnings throughout this journey, which happened so far. And if it helps people around and it helps to achieve their own career objectives, nothing like.
That's amazing.
So to start with now, I would say is that yes, like you said, कि जो internal audit as a field है, it was even when I entered into this field, it is actually primarily dominated by people from the finance background, mainly chartered accountants and other guys. But the thing is that the right now the to understand where the technical people are getting fit into this profile, we need to understand that what internal audit is basically. So होता क्या है कि every
Yes,
business is
so
facing
please
a
let us
certain kinds
know.
of
Yeah, so please let us know what is internal audit, and then we'll start the
yeah
questions
yeah
one
yeah
by one. Yeah, yeah.
correct. So basically, internal audit is a process to provide. I mean, in very technical terms, it's an assurance exercise to provide a reasonable assurance on the controls over the risk in the business. Now, it is a very technical definition, but in a very layman language, it would say that कि आप कोई भी business उठा के देखें, every business has a certain risk into it, and it's inherent. I mean, you cannot avoid risk if you are doing any business. So there are risks, there are opportunities. So
Very
for
true.
to address this risk, there are certain strategies which a business can adopt. Either we can totally avoid it, we can transfer it, or we can face it with certain kind of a strategy or a process in place. So in terminologies of internal audit, we call it as controls. So
True.
our job is, so we basically, internal audit does not form a part of a management. We consider ourselves as independent from the management, and we directly report to the board of the organization most of the time. So it's kind of an audit committee, which is a subcommittee of the board to whom we report. so that it plays the position of internal audit as a truly independent. So we are not associated with any kind of function, department, and so on. But there are exceptions in few companies, so it depends on organization to organization as well. So our job is to do what is we do a risk-based internal audit generally. So risk-based internal audit, basically what happens is that we identify the key risk within the business. We
Okay.
relate to the context in the current business context where it is right now, how significant that risk is, and what are the controls in place. And that's where the internal audit starts happening, and we start reviewing the controls, the way the processes are designed to address those risks, how well they are functioning, and so on. So based on that, this is the more or less you can say a crux of the internal audit where it is. And now the question is that where the technical professions, even like from engineering background or from IT background, even from any other specific backgrounds, where they're getting fit into these days. The thing is that the risk scenarios and the risk profiles which organizations are facing these days is continuously changing. I mean, if you talk about things like blockchain or machine learning or artificial intelligence, in past, like 5 years back, these things were like more or less something which were in process. But the thing is that these days this has become quite a new normal. No, so any risk associated with this new risk or emerging risk, we need certain expertise on board who can understand those processes, understand those controls, understand those risks, and perform those testings so that we can do provide an assurance to the board that yes, everything is okay and everything is fine.
So
And this is
yeah,
where people started getting into this domain of internal audit from different professional backgrounds.
great, great. So you have rightly informed that what is internal audit. Now, next question is how and why technical professionals are required in this field. So yeah, if you can
Yeah,
answer that.
so basically, yeah. So actually, if we like organizations, like I said, they are facing new kind of risk these days with the updates in the, let's say for example, cybersecurity. It's a great risk. I mean, it's you cannot deny. I mean, if you are under, unless your entire company is offline, there's no way that cybersecurity can't be one of your major risks these days. Similarly, in case of manufacturing plant operations, there are various technical risks such as downtimes and so on. Maintenance, reliability, HSC. There are a lot of risks which usually these heavy, manufacturing companies or even oil and gas companies face. In that case, people from technical background who have been into these kind of professional, and they have worked in such kind of profiles, they bring certain practical experience with them. And when these people get involved into auditing, the value they add, it's much better. So the ultimate value is that how better assurance we are giving to the management on the controls we have in place, and the better the you can say the risk overall risk management will be, I would say. So in that case, the demand for people from the different professionals is coming into picture. And I have seen, like I keep on looking on the various job descriptions which keeps floating around these days for various positions like manager, senior manager, internal audit, and so on. I am amazed that the trend so far is increasing towards knowledge like basic SQL and Tableau, Power BI, know-how of basic cybersecurity, ISO 27000, so on. So these things have been changed. I mean, of course, the finance is expected as something which is a basic expectation from all the companies that you should understand basic finance, basic accounting, and so on. But this is something which is over and above now. The management is asking that people should have certain expertise into these areas in the mix of the internal audit team, so that these critical risk or niche risk can be addressed to them.
Very, very well answered. So how can any technical professionals develop themselves in this field? I mean, you personally have taken a call to venture into from a
Yeah,
technical to this audit field. So what
yeah.
has helped you or what has motivated you? आपको किस क्या motivation मिला था, क्या inspiration मिला था और बाकी लोग ये चीज कैसे follow कर सकते हैं? If you can answer that.
Well, yeah, to answer that, actually, I had never planned to be into internal audit for that matter. It just happened accidentally, I would say. So
Wow.
I was in working with an oil and gas company in India, and I encountered few people from a consulting company who were doing some kind of an engagement, internal audit engagement for us. So me
Wow.
being from the drilling function, I was there as a focal point to support them in the data and any kind of analysis which they want or any kind of clarification they see. So उसी दौरान मेरी उनसे बातचीत स्टार्ट हुई. I later got to understand what is the risk consulting basically, how many consulting firms are there, because हम लोग कॉलेज से जस्ट निकले हुए थे with experience like 2-3 years. We didn't for us the oil and gas engineering like production, drilling, reservoir, something was the entire world for us. So उसके beyond जो हमें experience मिला while working and talking to different people with the job, so you get exposure, right? So उसके साथ मेरी काफी लोगों से बात भी हुई इस बारे में, and fortunately I got the one of the consulting firm was looking someone with the background which I was having at that time. So it was
Wow.
for like a right time at the right place, and I got selected in that recruitment round from the consulting firm. And then after I had a very good time with the consulting firm, and I have enjoyed and I've learned a lot about the business, because once you enter into consulting, there is no limit. I mean, you have so much of learning opportunities because you don't restrict yourself into particular domain. I mean, you because I've seen business processes from procurement to both technical to compliance, legal, and there are a lot of exposure you get. And this is where the fun part is, I would say. And in the beginning of the career, when you are just, freshly come out of the college, you need that actually to build a perspective. Now, coming back to the people who want to get into internal audit, I would say is that first of all, it requires certain kind of an aptitude which you will know once you start talking to the people. And one thing, this is my personal experience. Now, I might be wrong also, but it's person to person, I would say. But my opinion is that if you want to get into risk advisory, consulting, or internal audit domain, it helps a lot to first get into your, core domain and work for someone else, understand the business, understand what you are doing, and then get into consulting. Because what is most of the times, if you directly get into consulting, the depth of the knowledge which you are supposed to have in the particular domain, because I'm strictly talking in context of the technical people on board,
True.
because technical people are broad for their expertise in that particular domain. So we are not chartered accountants who are, well professional and, are well trained for this particular thing, and they can start auditing the accounts and the finance processes from the day one. We are
True.
hired as core experts to provide our assessment and review the business processes, which are quite sophisticated. So unless and until you have that business experience with you, you may not be able to add that much value as compared to someone who has already worked into the field. Now, having said
True.
that, I have worked with colleagues who have started their career into consulting, and it's a kind of a personal motivation as well, how a person drives into himself into that particular field. Because honestly speaking, I have met certain chartered accountants as well as my, throughout my career in consulting as well as in industry, who have audited technical operations domains as well, and they know each and everything. You ask them anything, they can tell you business anything. I mean, their knowledge is quite amazing, just based on the experience they have so far. So
Right.
my is that if a person wants to get into internal audit domain, first of all, you need to understand, talk to people. If you are already working in any company, just have a discussion, participate as a focal point in particular internal audit, and understand what internal audit is and whether this is for you or not, because it's not for everyone, and it requires certain kind of an aptitude. So that is something which is a highly personal thing. Second thing is
Right.
that it's better to gain some experience and then move into consulting and risk advisory rather than directly jumping into onto the ship. That's my
So
uh,
you have said about experience that you need to gain some certain experience before
yeah.
entering into this industry. So apart from
Yeah.
experience,
Mhm.
is there any courses, or like rather, which are the courses you will suggest for the internal audit professionals?
Courses, I would say, see, our knowledge body for internal audit is Institute of Internal Auditors. So they have a very exhaustive certification system, which you call the Certified Internal Auditor. And it covers part one, part two, part three, and it covers right from the fundamentals of internal audit to the business domain knowledge, which includes accounts, finance, and everything else. Apart from that, I guess pursuing that certification, if you are from IT and from technology background, there is another knowledge body which totally focuses on the internal audits related to IT, which is called as ISACA, and they have a course and they have a certification known as CISA, Certified Information System Auditor. And it more or less, the IIA and the CISA, I mean ISACA, they are hand to hand when it comes to the internal audit, the way the approach should be and all. It's just that IIA is more domain agnostic, while CISA is mostly concentrating on the information system auditing per se. But both of these domains and both of these channels are open for anyone who can just directly go to the website and see. And if they fit into your professional background, if they fit into your profile, definitely both of the courses are amazing, and both of the courses have their own requirement. Now, apart from that, these professional certificates, there are certain skill sets which you will need to have before you get into this, or while even if you are into that field as well, which requires data analytics, which I personally believe is kind of it's usually, it used to be a luxury to have before. I mean, we understand that everybody knows Excel, but right now, like I said, a few minutes back, that nowadays people are asking for experience in SQL, people experience in Tableau or Power BI and things like that. So gaining these skills also will be very helpful you to get succeed in this profession, because right now the continuous audit, things like continuous auditing, or even for that matter, the automation which is happening in the industry, and the amount of data we have right now to be reviewed with the implementation and the digitalization in the across the companies and across the organization, that it's very helpful to have a know-how and a better understanding of these tools as well to get succeeded.
Right.
Yeah,
So, you have explained that who can be into it, and which are the
yeah.
courses required and everything. So, uh, next question is, who can be actually in this, or in the internal audit domain as a person? If I need to decide that I should go or
Mm-hmm.
not, so which are the traits or which are the skills I should take into consideration to take a call that whether I should get into this field or not? तो मैं मुझे अपना
But I
फिटमेंट
think
चेक करना हो तो कैसे हो सकता है
uh,
वो?
I think for that, I would say it's not a one size fit all thing for internal audit, because from that perspective, I would say you should see that what you want from a job actually, and what do you like. I mean, the consulting, risk advisory, and internal audit will give you a lot of learning opportunities, because you are not restricted to one particular domain. So you are reviewing some process A today, you might be reviewing some process B tomorrow, and you must be assessing the risk for something, some C process after that. So the dynamics of this internal audit, for some it might be which gives them a good feeling that yes, I'm not doing a monotonous job. I'm reviewing I'm always doing something new. While for some it might be a case of discomfort, because people like to be there in their comfort zone, and nothing wrong in either approach. It's all personal preference. And second thing
Right,
is that most of the times that the stakeholder management is becomes very critical in internal audit, because when you deal with people, because in the routine jobs, of course, you need to deal a lot of people in the other jobs as well. But in case of internal audit, it becomes slightly more challenging, because when you are reviewing a process and you are reviewing in a particular area, there will be certain challenges which you will be facing while review, and you will be identifying certain gaps, and that needs to be discussed with the process owners as well, which might be sometimes very difficult in conversation at times. So you have to be very good in dealing with people, having communication, stakeholder management, and it requires a lot of other skill set as well. But again, like I said, like more or less, I would say if you feel that this is for you, then I don't think so that there will be anything which will stop you, because nobody learns internal audit even they graduate from the college. So
true.
it's a learning. So and I think I have started my career as a consultant in one of the consulting firm in as Big Four, and I had
Right,
a lot of learning. So eventually, you will know where you are and where you want to be. So I think if
Right.
you really like this field, you can definitely jump into that. But there are certain, checks which you need to see, like, this is what you want from your life after all.
Well, very well said. Very well said. So where is the huge potential for internal audit? India or overseas? ज़्यादा potential कहाँ पे है?
अब मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि आई थिंक इसमें ऐसा बाइफरकेट करना, तो आई थिंक इट्स डिफिकल्ट, बिकॉज अभी के मार्केट में आप देखेंगे इंडिया में भी देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटीज व्हिच आर कमिंग अप इन इंडिया एज वेल एज इन ओवरसीज, बिकॉज लाइक आई सेड देयर आर there's a huge demand in people in continuous auditing especially, बिकॉज आज की तारीख में जिस तरीके से डिजिटलाइजेशन हो रहा है कंपनीज में, एंड द न्यू रिस्क व्हिच आर इमर्जिंग, एंड स्पेशली इन टर्म्स ऑफ IT securities and information security compliances in terms of the IT, then continuous auditing, analytics, and so on. So आज की तारीख में I think India is fast catching up, not catching up, and sometimes they are the leaders in many of the things which the other world and other countries, I think they have not mature enough in that case. So I think opportunity wise in India and overseas as well, there are quite equal opportunities. There are certain areas within India where you will find a lot of big hubs which are working as a backend offices for many companies, where they are working as internal audit domain for the, as a global internal audit functions as well. So I think in both the cases, like overseas in India, we have equal opportunities. It's just that where you get the opportunity and where you can start with, and of course there is always a learning curve in each case, because
And
because the culture also changes, and the way the
culture,
internal audit
and
people.
it's also a choice of a person like you, whether you want to explore the
Yeah,
overseas market or you
yeah,
want to
yeah,
be in the India, because there is
yeah.
here also there is a
And, I,
huge
and
potential.
Agreed, agreed. I think in case of internal audit, it also depends on on how mature the internal audit is within a particular organization, because that's where you will see that how serious the internal audit is in a particular organization. So that is also important. But big companies, like what I've seen, that they have now the in India also in India. But even when I was working in India at the time, I have worked with some amazing companies which they had a beautiful audit management systems, and the way they have performed audit, the importance the audit was given, it was really good. So I think it's not something which we can bifurcate between India and overseas. It's just that where you
Right.
get the opportunity, you can just grab that.
Very true, very true. So what is your one final your tips, not final, but your tips for
Hmm.
internal audit professionals? What
Yeah.
are do's and don'ts? क्या करना चाहिए, क्या नहीं चाहिए, over period of your
Hmm.
experience and your interaction with the your colleagues.
True.
So what are
True.
your tips? What are the tips they should
I think
any
I think
yeah.
yeah, one main thing where I would say is that, which really I'm very afraid of, is the fear of obsolete, getting obsolete, I would say, because the way things are moving these days, I mean, it's really scary that if you don't know it, you will soon be obsolete. And internal audit is not an exception in that case, because like I said, like I have been checking the way the companies are demanding the new skill sets from the internal auditor. Unless and until you just keep a good pace and keep on learning those things, soon you will be out and somebody else will replace you. That's for sure. So I would say that continuous learning and is the key, and keep a track on the key trends and the emerging risks which is happening right now. And I would say there are certain areas like ESG is becoming a big hot topic where companies are focusing on. So if they have particular reporting in terms of few standards, and if they have internal policies, procedures in place, certainly they will expect someone who is having certain knowledge in that domain, who will review us for that as an internal auditor on those processes as well. So this is just an example. There are a lot many other things. So keep learning, keep getting updated, and that's the whole key. And I think that is true for any other profession as well these
Very
days.
true,
Yeah,
very true. Yeah,
yeah,
thank you, Ninad Dave, for joining in. If you have any question, audience, if you have any question, then you can definitely raise that. We have 2 minutes to go, and we will definitely cover your question if it's not covered before the session, during the session. So please do ask if you have any question. And yeah, you rightly said continuous learning, keep upgrading yourself is the uh,
yeah,
tip for any professional, not only internal audit professionals. So
yeah.
that's well said. So one final words, your final words for our audience, your success mantra, your keynotes for our audience.
My success mantra is that like uh, you should keep surrounded by good people. And fortunately, I have a very good team. Because with my journey started in a very tough environment because Big Four is a tough world. And
True.
fortunately, I was surrounded with many good people around. My manager, my colleagues, they really supported me, and I learned a
Great.
lot from those guys. So I think this is something which is very important to keep in touch with good people who can, mentor you, could guide you. And because, like I said, the way things are changing these days is like, at a spur of a second, things are getting changed, and it is really important for us to be on the right track every time. That is one thing. And
Very true.
secondly, I would say is that you should understand what you expect from the life, because uh, every person has its own priorities. Some because this one thing which I believe is that the professional and personal balance is must, but for some it's not. So because as soon as we go out from the college, we don't realize, we get ourselves into we slog ourselves for hours and hours and hours, which is fine as well, because that's the time where we need to put our efforts into and learn and build our career. But over the period of time, as you start making your career choices and you progress on the career ladder, the opportunities become more and more, specialized and niche. So this is where you need to make sure that what exactly you want from a career and where you want to develop, because you can't just go with the time, and you need to make sure that what exactly you want.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah,
Well said, and it's really very useful advice for our audience. And I'm
thank
sure
you.
कि ये जो सेशन है ये काफ़ी हेल्पफुल रहेगा, बिकॉज लोगों का एक इंटरनल ऑडिट के लिए जो परसेप्शन है वो पूरा चेंज हो जाएगा. And
Mhm.
Ninad is having one question. He is asking that can you please tell how to align oneself for middle management positions in internal auditing, especially after industry experience and MBA.
Yeah, that's a very very fair question, because the question started with the middle management, but I would say in internal audit, especially, I think the consulting is a very good option to get into internal audit and risk advisory as a whole, because you will not get that learning experience anywhere what you get into consulting. That is for sure. And not only just in the, you can say, the in the domain of the internal audit, but also in the other soft skills as well, because you learn how to deal with the clients, how to build up the marketing collaterals, how to deal with the pressure, which is a very important thing as you progress in your career. So that is, consulting is a good way to get into this domain. Now, having said that, I would say most of the times, what I've seen, even personally, that when you start into consulting, any consulting firm will, even if you have a good fair amount of experience with a proper MBA degree as well, they will treat you, consider you as someone as an entry level professional, because honestly speaking, you don't have experience in consulting or even in the risk advisory domain. You are hired because you have a certain knowledge in the domain. Then you have to be an expert into a particular field so that you grow into that. So
True.
that way, I guess you can start with a consulting firm, but don't expect directly to get into a position like a manager or senior manager, because it is a long way to go, to be honest. And it takes a lot of other aspects as well to you have to judge the market. You have to understand the kind of service lines the consulting have, how to develop those, and how to manage multiple assignments, how to manage resources and everything, which may not be you will not be knowing once you have that your professional experience which you're coming from. So I guess you will certainly start as a consultant or a senior consultant, which I would consider as a near entry level positions. But once you are into it and you start performing, I guess the growth wise, there is no block. You will not find any bottlenecks in the consulting, because if you are working hard, if you're performing well, you are equally rewarded. And this is my personal experience so far. So
Great.
middle management might be difficult, but of course you can directly. I mean, consultant, senior consultant, and will be a good position to start with. Yeah.
Great, great. So, Ninad, I'm sure this answer will help you, and you can be in touch with us. You can connect with connect with Ayush on this. This is his LinkedIn,
Sure.
या LinkedIn आईडी, so आप उनसे कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं. आप ये जो सेशन है, ऑडियंस, आप ये जो सेशन है उसके कमेंट में भी अगर कोई आपका क्वेश्चन है, आपकी कोई कमेंट है, तो आप डेफिनेटली कमेंट कर सकते हैं. क्वेश्चन है तो भी कमेंट कर सकते हैं. विल मेक श्योर कि आयुष विल आंसर दैट क्वेश्चन एंड you'll get the answer. Yeah, thank you, Ninad. You got the answer, and thank you for joining in today. So yes,
Thank you.
audience, आप आयुष के साथ कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं. ये इनका लिंक्डइन आईडी है. आप लिंक्डइन पे उनसे कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं. कोई भी आपकी क्वेरी है तो आप डेफिनेटली उनसे डायरेक्टली कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं. ये जो यूट्यूब सेशन है विपुल द वंडरफुल पे जाके आप देख सकते हैं, अपने नेटवर्क में शेयर कर सकते हो, और आप उसके कमेंट में भी अगर आपका कोई क्वेश्चन है तो डेफिनेटली पूछ सकते हैं. विल बी हैप्पी टू आंसर दैट, एंड do participate in the upcoming sessions also. Yes, Ayush, thank you for joining in once again, and
Thank you. Pleasure.
yeah, we really appreciate your spirit for sparing time for us. Thank you so
You're
much,
most
and
welcome.
wishing you,
You're most welcome.
yeah, and wishing you all the best for your bright future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having
Yeah,
me here. Thank
yeah, thank
you.
you so much. Keep in touch. Take care. Yeah.
Thank you.
सो ऑडियंस, आप आयुष से कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं. अगर आपको कुछ क्वेरी है तो आप डेफिनेटली उनको पूछ सकते हैं. और हमारे जो अभी तक के आज का सेशन को ऐड करके 68 सेशंस हुए, आप उनको यूट्यूब पे tuned, and I'm sure we'll be able to invite more and more expert, and we'll be able to share more knowledge with you all guys. So thank you once again. And this session was powered by Post Resume, which is so we are into middle and senior level recruitment services across India and Africa since 2007. So do connect with us if you are looking for any career guidance. If you're a corporate and looking for talent solutions, then do connect with us. We'll help you with best of the talents into middle and senior management. So friends, thank you for joining in today once again, and see you in the next episode of Expert Talk Show. Till then, keep smiling, stay blessed, and thank you. Bye.